Good morning, church family. This is Pastor Scott, pastor of discipleship, and we want to welcome you to our daily devotions for this week. This week we're going to be looking at the Sermon on the Mount, which you can find in the book of Matthew, chapters 5 through 7. They won't be approached in any particular order, but we'd love for you to be reading at home and studying along with us. So today, for our devotion, I'd like us to look at Matthew chapter 6, beginning at verse 5. I want to read verses 5 and 6, and then we'll focus in on a small portion of verse 6. So Jesus said, "And when you pray, do not be like the hypocrites, for they love to pray, standing in the synagogues and on the street corners, to be seen by men. I tell you the truth, they have received their reward in full. But when you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Now I want to look closer at verse 6, where Jesus says, "Go into your room." And I want to focus on that word room. Now in the Greek, the word there simply means a storage room or a closet. But it's just a room, just a common room. It's not a special room. When you go into that room and you go in there by faith, expecting to meet with God, to pour your heart out to Him, to talk to Him, that common room becomes a very special room. And I'm going to read something to you from Hebrews in just a moment to bring that out. But the reason for my focus on this today is I think that when we all went into this season of quarantine, I know there were some people who were concerned about what they were going to do in their walk with Jesus. They were, well, what do I do if I can't get to the church building? What will I do without church services? How will I get communion? What if I want to pray in the prayer room? And just various concerns. But I think what we have had to learn through this time is that it's not about the room. It's not about the building. Yes, we are counseled to meet together more and more as we see the day approaching. But for right now, we can't. But Jesus said, go into your room. Go into that room in the middle of your house, and that you can go in and shut the door. Nobody will hear you. You won't hear anybody. And when you do that in faith to talk to Him, He sees what you're doing there. He meets you there, and He promises to reward you and to answer your prayers. So in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 19, the text says, "Therefore, brothers, since we have confidence to enter the most holy place by the blood of Jesus, by a new and living way opened for us through the curtain, that is, His body, and since we have a great priest over the house of God, let us draw near to God with a sincere heart, in full assurance of faith, having our hearts sprinkled to cleanse us from a guilty conscience, and having our bodies washed with pure water." Now, what happened when Jesus died on the cross is that the veil in the temple that separated and kept people out of the Holy of Holies, it was torn into two pieces from the top to the bottom, supernaturally. And so the writer here is saying that was a figure of what actually happened. Jesus's body was torn. And now, because He has been raised from the dead, we can enter into the Holy of Holies. And we can enter boldly. We can draw near with a sincere heart. We can draw near to God in full assurance of faith. So even though we can't meet together right now, we can have devotions. We can do all kinds of things like we're doing online. But you don't have to wait for anyone. You can find that room in your home, shut the door, talk to God, and know by faith that you are entering into the holy place and that He will meet you there. God bless you this week.